you know, I'm heartbroken. I invest so much emotion and belief in this ball club, and they go out there Saturday, September 1, and drop a daggum egg. It hurts. I have high expectations for this team and for this staff, and they went out there yesterday and they just did not deliver. They didn't deliver. And I want to come out here and apologize to everyone that's been watching my videos and been buying into what I've been preaching about this ball club and believing in this team like I do. Because I let you guys down. Okay? I let you guys down, and, all I can do is apologize for it. I'm sorry. I based my prediction on too many assumptions. I assumed that this team would come out and would take shots down the field to our big-time playmakers. I assumed that this coaching staff put the best players on the field. I assumed that this coaching staff would make adjustments as the game went on and continue to try to put this team in the best position to win games. And I assumed wrong. And there's so many negatives that you can take away from this game. The offensive line didn't play great, especially early on in that game. The defensive line didn't get any resemblance of a pass rush. Linebackers, slow playing everything. But despite the negatives that we saw, from the team and then from the coaching staff, starting Trayvon Flowers instead of giving a guy like Theo Jackson significant time to play, or even Schamberger a real chance to play. Like I already said, not throwing the ball deep to Jawan Jennings and Marquez Callaway, not taking more shots down the field, not realizing that the running game wasn't working as well as we would have liked early on, and the passing game was clicking pretty well. We need to continue to pass the ball, but we were stubborn, and we just stuck to what the game plan was instead of adjusting and doing whatever it took to win, like Tyson Helton said he would do when the time came to do it. Despite those negatives, there's actually a lot of positives to take from this game, guys. And I know it sounds crazy. I know you guys are saying, here we go again. This guy's crazy. This guy's delusional. But seriously, guys, like, the negatives that we had in this game, I feel like, there's basically two categories of negatives, right? There's the negatives that can immediately be fixed, right? Like, we can go out there and during their Sunday practice today, they can literally make these corrections and make those improvements. Then there's other things that were negatives that are going to take some time for them to correct. Some of those short-term negatives. Playing the best guys, right? Trayvon Flowers, great kid, I'm sure. He has some ability, he really didn't play an awful game. Okay, he didn't play a terrible game. He's number 25, he played safety. Whenever we ran nickel, he moved back there to safety. He didn't play a terrible game. He really had the two plays that stand out, the two plays that he got beat deep when he was covering the guy in the slot. One of those throws was overthrown, the other one was a touchdown. He didn't play terrible, honestly. He actually made a couple plays, but I would have much rather seen Theo Jackson back there at safety. I think he's our second best safety. Honestly, I think it's Nigel Warrior and then Theo Jackson and then Micah Abernathy. Not really sure why he was starting. I guess he earned that spot, but those corrections of not playing the best guys, I think they can make those corrections. I think Balin Buchanan, I'm sure he earned the spot in fall camp, but he's a guy that has pretty much proven to me that he can't be the guy. He's too lackadaisical. He's jogging around right in the middle of plays, jogging next to the pile instead of getting in on it. Just not very much urgency out of him. And, I would love to see a scenario where we continue to develop Bryce Thompson at that other corner spot, whatever his name is. I think his name is Bryce Thompson. Continue to develop him and continue to develop Alontae Taylor. And I'd like to see those two guys be our starting corners. We'd like to see Nigel Warrior and Theo Jackson be our two safeties. And I think Mike Abernathy can play that nickel. I think he can. But we'd like to see him or Schamberger be that nickel. And then everyone else is coming off the bench, But those should be our guys. And so I'd like to see that adjustment being made, and that's going to tell me a lot about this staff, is what adjustments do they make from now to next week. Are they going to start putting in the kids that are the best players? Are they going to start taking the shots down the field? Are they going to adjust and say, we're not going to just be stubborn and continue to run the ball. If the run game ain't working, we're gonna pass it. So I want to see those adjustments made next week. The linebackers were very slow to get to the ball. They were getting blocked too easily. Had to work on getting off blocks or beating blockers to the point. When they see the run, they need to get there and go ahead and fill that hole now. They're waiting too much. They're too slow getting there, and then they're getting blocked when they do get there. D-line didn't give us really any push, the pass rush. But I think a lot of that, and really a lot of all the negatives we saw on this entire team, really just them continuing to learn. It's still a learning process with the new systems that they're learning. And going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 kind of puts the defensive line in more of kind of a two-gap responsibility instead of being able to just kind of rush the passer or get after it a little bit more. And I think that a lot of the lack of pass rush was because of that. They were a little bit confused of when they should kind of pin their ears back and come, and when they should try to kind of hold a gap. I think as they continue to learn their responsibilities and learn the scheme and the way everything works together, we should see an improvement from our pass rush. Because yesterday, the only pass rush we got came up the middle from Alexis Johnson and Shy Tuttle. Those are the guys that got a consistent rush. Kyle Phillips did a pretty good job of getting some consistent kind of collapse in the pocket a little bit. He did a good job of that. And so he needs to continue to do that and continue to improve on that. But Darrell Taylor and Kongbo have got to be more creative with their pass moves and have got to give us some spin moves, a little bit more shiftiness, a little bit more quick twitch out of those guys instead of just giving them a little jab step and expecting that to work. It's not always going to work. You have to just mix your moves up. But that being said, there were several times when we could have gotten sacks, but we were held and we didn't get the call. First play I think about is towards the end of the half, Will Greer scrambles back. We almost have him for like a 20 or 30 yard loss. But he ends up scrambling out of that and getting about 10 yards or so. But Alexis Johnson absolutely demolished the right guard. Demolished him, put him flat on his back. But the guard literally tackles him as he falls on his back. He literally brings the guy down. And then even when they're on the ground, he's still holding him. He literally had him in like a rear naked choke. Literally. He literally had this guy in a rear naked choke. There's another play. Darrell Taylor came through clean. Guy holds him. There was several plays where we got held and we did not get the call, and they pretty much always seem to be significant plays. But I'm not making excuses. Not trying to say that's why we lost. But maybe if those calls were made, we at least get the call, or maybe if they didn't hold us, we get the sacks. But whatever. You can't get held. You can't get held at the end of the day. There's no excuse to get held. You have to fight that block and make a play. But pass rush needs to improve. Linebackers need to learn what they're doing and get their drops better and come downhill and fill those running lanes faster and take on blocks better. Secondary, I think, actually didn't look bad. Pretty good coverage for the most part. There were a couple busts, of course, which is going to happen with a new system in game one. Like I said, Bailey Buchanan was very inconsistent, very lackadaisical. I think Alante Taylor was probably our most consistent guy. He didn't really give up. They didn't really throw it at his guy very much. But just watching him at pretty much every play, I watched the game like 3 or 4 times already. Just watching him, every play, he's pretty much always had good coverage. So that's very encouraging. Came up and tackled and filled well and got off blocks pretty well. Then our safeties, Nigel Warrior. It wasn't his best game. He's very slow. He's also very slow. I think that's going to be a common theme for first week or two for these guys as they're still trying to learn how to play fast and learn what to do. But he's got to come down and fill. There was a play. It's a 2nd and 12 where they broke up like a 22-yard game. Granted, Bailey Buchanan gets held in that play. He could have probably made the tackle. He gets held. But at the end of the day, Nigel Warrior, he was the high safety. He should have came down and filled that play a lot quicker. A lot quicker. But I know he was a deep safety and knows man coverage, but he had to identify run and you had to come fill fast, like now. Come take the air out. But he didn't do that. He's just slow playing things and kind of sitting on his heels and waiting too much instead of attacking. So I want to see him attack a lot more. I think when Theo Jackson came in, I saw a lot more aggressiveness from him. He came down, caused a fumble in the 4th quarter, and just played better overall. I think than any of our other safeties did yesterday. So I want to definitely see more of him. Micah Abernathy, watching the game live, I didn't think he did very well, but watching it back a couple times, he didn't play awful. He was in good position most of the time, and if he didn't make a tackle, he at least forced it inside or slowed the guy up. So that's improvement from what he did last season. And just overall in terms of coverage, we got beat on, really there was 4 big plays we gave up. The first touchdown we gave up, we were in cover 2. They ran a drag across the field into the boundary. We actually had the perfect play call for that. Like, that's literally like we had that play should have been an interception. But what happened, Alontae Taylor was into the boundary, and being a freshman, guy hadn't played much corner before, I guess he didn't really know kind of where to get his eyes. But cover 2, okay, you're kind of high to low, right? So you're playing the corner. If you have 2 receivers on your side, you're looking for the China route, which is the inside guy running a corner route, outside guy running a China. I believe that's kind of what they gave us. And so Alontae should carry that fade for about 15, 20 yards and then kind of let that go to the safety. Whenever his guy goes, you have to be able to look for 3 coming back to you, or the far receiver on the other side coming back to you. And that guy came right back into his zone. He should have identified that and been able to jump that route and pick it and potentially score, or at least deliver a big hit, try to drive the ball loose or something. But he kind of got lost at the last minute, and I don't know what he saw, because he saw the ball thrown, but he didn't see the receiver, and so he just ran to the wrong spot and wasn't there. But it was actually a perfect play call. Should have been a pick, honestly, but it ended up being a touchdown. And then the second touchdown, it was like West Virginia had the perfect play call. We blitz from the boundary, and they run a fake speed sweep into the boundary, throw it deep to their big 6'4", 6'5" receiver. And we had Trayvon Flowers, our true freshman safety, manned up on the guy, and he just stood flat-footed and let the guy run right past him for a touchdown. That was just, they had the right play call, and they just beat us. He absolutely beat the guy. The corner, the safety had terrible technique, just got dusted. Then the second touchdown, I believe it was a very similar situation. I think it was on Nigel Warrior. I'm sorry, this would be a third touchdown. So Nigel Warrior was manned up with the guy in the slot, and they actually had pretty good coverage. It was just a very well thrown ball. The receiver's probably like 6'4". Nigel Warrior's like 6 feet. Ball was outside, high and outside, and the guy just made a play. It's a good throw, good catch. Nothing you can do about that, really. He could have been a little bit tighter, not get pushed off. But at the end of the day, it was just a good throw, good catch. And then they had another big play. This is probably in the fourth quarter. They had another big play. And similar situation. This time was Micah Abernathy manned up on the guy in the slot. And he's actually in great position. He actually played it about as good as you could play it. But as a DB, when you're in man coverage, you're taught to get into the guy's hip, kind of get into his body a little bit. Once the route progresses beyond 15 yards, your eyes shift from his hips to his eyes. You're looking to see when he's looking for the ball. When he looks back for the ball, you look back for the ball. And the receiver didn't look back until the very last second. And literally, as soon as he looked back, the ball was like right there. And you'll see Abernathy looks back when he sees his receiver look back, but it's too late. The ball was literally right there. It was a perfect throw, perfect timing. Just a lot of great chemistry between Will Greer and his receiving corps. So I tip my hat to them. They've definitely been doing a lot of reps of it. But it was just perfect. It was just a perfect play, and I think pretty much anybody will get beat in that situation. And so really, aside from that second touchdown we gave up, they really weren't beating us. It wasn't we were in a bad call or anything like that. It was just us not making a play and them making a play. So we just had to be able to win at the moment of truth. But we were in good position a lot of time, honestly. And then, our offense came out. We struggled early on the offensive line. Couldn't block anybody. Brandon Kennedy looked terrible. I just think he was very, very nervous, honestly, because after about the second drive, he really settled in. And, he kind of started to dominate a little bit. He really was throwing his guy to the ground pretty consistently and creating some lanes for us to run through. I think our offensive line overall, they won individual battles, but as a unit, they didn't block well. So when we did a lot of zone blocking or when we were pass protecting, there's not very much chemistry within that group. And so maybe the right guard and the right tackle are working together on a guy, but, they don't really know how much to get on the guy, They're kind of expecting the other guy to do a little bit more than he does. and so they end up creating a crease, and the guy just gets to the crease or whatever. And even in the zone blocking, you can tell they haven't quite figured that out. They're not quite comfortable with that. They don't quite have the rapport and chemistry they need for the zone blocking to work the way it needs to work. They're not blocking as a unit. They don't really trust each other yet or know what to expect from each other in terms of how long they're going to hold their blocks. How long should I chip this guy before I move on to the next guy to give this backside guy time to get to this guy. And so just the rapport that they have and the connection, the chemistry that they have is very lackluster right now. And we're very fortunate to have these two kind of cupcake games coming up to build that rapport and develop that, because this unit, they did some really good things, especially Trey Smith and Omir Johnson did some really good things. And Brandon King did some really good things too. Ryan Johnson and Drew Richmond struggled a little bit, I think, but the other three guys, I think they did some really good things, especially Omir Johnson. Go back and watch him on that touchdown run with Tim Jordan. Omir pulls around and he blocks two guys. Literally blocks two guys, puts them both in the dirt, and we score a touchdown. He had a lot of great blocks on the screen pass. We overthrew Tim Jordan, but Omir Johnson pancakes the corner and then gives him a little extra business at the end of it. Omir did a lot of good things. If you watch him every play, he's a very physical guy, very aggressive, hard-nosed type of player, and he's good. The left side of our line is definitely our strength for sure. But honestly, I think our O-line is going to be good. They just have to learn how to block together, because they pretty much do win their individual battles pretty consistently. It's just when it comes to, okay, I have to rely on the guy next to me a little bit more. It's not just me versus this guy. It's I have to rely on this guy, rely on this guy. Then that's when our problems start to kind of surface. But overall, I think O-line did good. They opened up some lanes. They dominated the guys that are blocking pretty consistently after that, first couple drives or so. They play fast on defense. I think we could have play action them. I think we could have play action the heck out of those guys, honestly, because they were just committed to stopping the run. Like, you watch their linebackers down set hut, if they see any type of run read, they were sprinting to the spot, which, I like to see guys play fast, but you have to make sure it's not play action, which is why that first touchdown we got was wide open. And it had been wide open, play action had been wide open, because of how fast the backers were getting down the hill, everybody. So as soon as they saw a run, they were just coming right now. And it ended up working out for them because we didn't really call any play action. We should have play action them, screened them more, done anything we can to just slow them down, to get them playing a little bit slower, because they were just coming downhill way too fast. I think Tim Jordan ran hard at running back. Modry London did pretty good. His carries that he got, he ran hard. And Jeremy Banks, he's the guy I want to see get more carries next week. He looks very explosive. He's very quick twitch and he runs very hard. I want to see him get the ball more. He looks like a big-time SEC back already as a freshman. So I'd like to see him get more opportunities and see what he can do with the ball in his hands. Receivers looked good. They were open pretty consistently. They blocked well. Would have liked to have seen them get more opportunities to catch the ball down the field. I feel like that's what this team's strength is, and we need to push the ball down the field more to give these guys chances to make plays, because they really didn't stop our passing game all day. We just didn't pass it very much. So I'd like to see more passes next week. And our tight ends, I think that they struggled to block. I know Eli Johnson missed the block, or Eli Wolf missed the block early in the game on like a quick screen. Missed the guy. They tried to get Cedric Tillman the ball, and Eli misses his block, completely whiffs. Dominic Wood Anderson, or DWA as I call him, he had several missed blocks, and it wasn't like he just missed the block. It was more like he didn't know who to block. And so he needs to really do what he can to understand the blocking scheme and who he has to block, because if he can't block, his value is very limited to us. Then the quarterback, Jerry Garantano, I think played a great game. Tough as nails, took some shots early. Laid his body on the line trying to score a touchdown for us in the second quarter there. Gutsy guy. He definitely has won me over. He won me over last season. I've been rooting for that guy, and he's earned it. And he continues to show me what I already believe, in that this offense can be very explosive, because we have a quarterback who's tough and gutsy, can make all throws, and isn't scared to make those throws. And we just need a play call that's going to give us a chance to make those plays. Throw it up down the field. And our O-line has to protect long enough for us to let those routes develop. So Garantano looked good, though, made a lot of good reads. I want to see him get better, though, with his pre-snap reads, identifying the blitzes and getting us into a favorable situation. Maybe getting us to a screen, or getting a hot route called for you, shifting your protection, whatever you need to do, because it's like the blitzes are coming and he doesn't do anything to change it. Or it was even a couple times when they brought the house and we ran right into it. We have to be able to check out of those plays and give ourselves a chance. So that's the one area I say he needs to really improve. I think he has all the physical tools. He's shown he's tough as nails. He ain't scared of nothing. He can do all that, can read coverages and all that stuff. Now he needs to get better pre-snap, identifying the blitzes and getting us in a favorable situation. But, honestly, looking back at the game, we gave up some big plays and we were slow to get started on offense. But we really moved the ball well. It was just, shooting ourselves in the foot, whether it was illegal procedure, getting caught for a pick play, whatever. Just whatever it was, just busting assignments on the offensive line. Little things that can be corrected. I don't think that we got whipped because we were the worst team. We got whipped because we didn't really know what we were doing. We're still learning these new systems. And, it's kind of a blessing that we did get whooped the first game of the season. We have 2 kind of cupcake weeks to implement those changes before we start that gauntlet, starting off with Florida. So it really kind of depends on the confidence and the mental state of this team. If they can avoid getting discouraged because of this loss, and I think the coaching staff should be able to put the film on and point to a lot of very good things, a lot of great positives that this team knows that they can build on, and kind of say, yeah, we know we lost because we didn't execute the little small things right. But they didn't just come out here and manhandle you guys. We just didn't handle, the small things right. And like Pruitt said, you have a quarterback like that, an offense like that, you come out there and make those mistakes, the game can get out of hand really quick, and it did. But I did see a lot of positives, and I do think this team. I still believe in this team. I really do. I honestly think overall we played well. We just have to fix the small things, learn to play together as an offensive line, find ways to create pressure on the defense, and just not get beat deep and give those big plays. We're going to continue to play aggressive style defense, and so we just have to be able to not give up the big plays when we do that, and I think we'll be fine. We probably won't see a better passing attack than that all season. Great first test for our guys, kind of a great measuring stick for where we're at. And, went out there and we got beat pretty handily, but I think there's a lot of positives to take from this. And so moving forward, I still do believe in this team. But it's just going to kind of come down to how quickly can they pick up, this defense and the offense, the protection schemes and all that stuff, because that seems to be where we're hurting right now, is a lack of understanding of our responsibilities, which is causing us to play slow on defense, causing us to leave guys wide open. There were several plays we had, like 2 guys covering 1 guy, 2 guys in one zone, nobody in this zone, even though there's a receiver over there. So just little things like that, that if we just know what we're doing, then we are in position to make plays. But, only time will really tell how good that West Virginia team really is. I think Will Greer definitely will be a Heisman candidate by the end of the season if he stays healthy and stays out of trouble. And, I just kind of got a glimpse of the West Virginia schedule. I don't think they really play anybody. They play Oklahoma the last game of the season. Besides that, I don't really see anything tough on their schedule. They may be undefeated. I'm going to play Oklahoma at the end of the season. I don't know. But I don't know if the team's that good even. I really don't. Only time will tell really how good that team is. Because I don't think that team is, 3-4 touchdowns better than us. Honestly, I really don't. Just execution issues that really kind of made that score lopsided. And that game got out of hand. In a matter of just 1 quarter, really. But yeah, that's my take on the game. I'm still confident in this team, and still think we're going to do some good things this season, and still think we're going to have a winning record. Thanks for tuning in again. Sorry for getting everybody's hopes up and us coming out there and falling flat, but I still believe in this team, and I still think this team will do some good things. So I got my big orange on today. Going to continue to support these guys, and I'm not going to lose faith in these guys until I have a legitimate reason to see that this coaching staff isn't making any adjustments week to week. That's going out there with the same game plan, the same guys playing, expecting a different result. But if I don't see that, if I see them trying to make changes and trying to improve, then I'm still gonna believe in this staff, and I'm still gonna fully expect them to perform at an elite level. So that's my take on it, man. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll try to pump out some more videos this week, and definitely again recap next week.